Hello guys, Jubita is back with a new video where we're gonna take a look at the character of Itachi Uchiha. Itachi is one of the most beloved characters, but he's also quite polarizing in a sense. People just can't seem to agree to whether Itachi was truly good all along or if he was just changed haphazardly by the author as a retcon. And while I do have a video tackling all of the foreshadowing of Itachi's true motives, I do understand where the doubt comes from as well, as Itachi did brutalize Sasuke, and he went pretty overboard with it too. So it was always hard to sell this "he was a good guy all along" narrative. But that's why today I have decided to tackle Itachi Uchiha's actions, both the good and bad, his intentions, his failures, and paint a broader picture of whether Itachi was evil or not. If we were to go back to the first time Itachi was introduced, the clan killer that Sasuke spent his entire life training against, he looked like the main bad guy, though there was still signs that there was a bit more to his character. From the moment he showed up in the Leaf with Kisame, and the two of them started causing chaos, it is believed that Itachi was actually holding back the entire time, and was not trying to cause a lot of commotion, and he even kept Kisame on a leash, not letting him go too overboard. Even Kakashi, after he got caught up by his Mangekyo, was baffled as to why Itachi didn't finish him off, implying that Itachi could have done so at any moment. A lot of the people around him keep questioning his motives. Itachi even tells Kakashi that they're looking for the pride of the fort. And considering that Kakashi was the fourth student, it was a dead giveaway as to what the Akatsuki's target was, the tailed beasts. This was one point used in favor of the Itachi was always a double agent argument. This could be a way of covertly relaying intel about the Akatsuki to the Leaf right under Kisame's nose. Of course, Itachi has a role to play, and he tells Kisame to kidnap Kakashi since he knows too much, and just when he's about to do so, Guy comes to the rescue. Now, whether this was just a coincidence or whether Itachi somehow could foresee Guy's intervention is a debate in itself, but in any case, after Itachi pulled up to the hotel where Naruto was staying and got confronted by Sasuke, Itachi was back on demon time. He did not hold back against Sasuke and truly showed him hell by using the Tsukuyomi on him. And things were also looking bleak on Naruto's part. Kisame was ready to chop off his limbs to render him immobile, but luckily Jiraiya is able to appear just in time and prevent that. A lot of Itachi haters will say that this is proof that Itachi was meant to be evil and just got retconned. But Itachi was working undercover. He couldn't stop Kisame, otherwise he'd get suspicious. Kisame was already kinda suspicious that Itachi had to run away from Jiraiya, and he knew Itachi could face that Sani in no difficulty, but Itachi has to pass it off as oh, they're equals and they might end up killing each other. But this is also another example of Itachi retreating and not wanting to engage the Konoha ninja, which could be seen as a subtle hint to his true alliance, and is akin to his pacifist ways. Now, Itachi's visit to the village causes massive changes to Sasuke's character, and it kinda pushes him off the edge a bit. It makes him renew his vow of enacting vengeance against his brother, and to do whatever it takes to get the necessary power to achieve that goal, which means abandoning the Leaf and going to train with Orochimaru, trying to seek absolute power. Itachi also encouraged Sasuke to try to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan by slaughtering his best friend. And Sasuke was gonna go through with that until he decided that he was better than his monster of a big brother. But yeah, pushing Sasuke to Orochimaru, feeding him all those lies to make him hate him, and then telling him to kill his best friend in order to achieve the Mangekyo Sharingan is another reason why a lot of people think that Itachi was indeed always evil. And to that I say, Itachi was always meant to be a main antagonist at the start of the series. And that doesn't necessarily disprove his motives that are revealed later on. He was taking on the role of a bad guy. He did push Sasuke to Orochimaru, but that could just mean that he had that much faith in Sasuke, as Orochimaru was seen as inferior to the Uchiha clan, and even Sasuke realized this and taunted Orochimaru towards the end of his life. He said that a genius like Orochimaru was just a run-of-the-mill ninja when compared to the Uchiha clan. Sasuke was gonna have to get strong without his brother's help. Now, as for the killing his best friend part, this was all done so that Sasuke could gain new powers in the Mangekyo Sharingan. The truth is that Sasuke had a target on his back, one put by Danzo, and I believe that this was the true reason that Danzo wanted Sai to eliminate Sasuke, so that he could get rid of the last Uchiha who he knew could come for his head if he ever found out the truth. And if Sasuke were to kill Naruto, that would also derail the Akatsuki's plans by a bit. It doesn't mean that Itachi was good all along, but all this doesn't disprove that he was a secret agent working for the Leaf. There's still a lot of hints speckled throughout that make it clear that Itachi wasn't just this madman in search for power, and that there were more complicated reasons behind his actions, and I go over all of them in my foreshadowing video, which I will highlight again since it's a popular video on this channel. But even for example, when he faced Team Kakashi and Chiyo as a 30% clone, once Naruto defeats him, Itachi smiles, which makes it seem like he was content to lose to the Leaf. Also, a lot of the stuff that he let Sasuke go through could just be him having confidence in his brother, and his plans of building this Uchiha Avenger that could bring justice to the clan. Sasuke had become strong on his own. For example, when Zetsu announced that Deidara had offed himself, Tobi, and Sasuke, and Kisame went to consult Itachi, Itachi says that Sasuke isn't dead, and he says that with complete confidence. And even before he faces Sasuke, he goes to see Naruto, and he doesn't even try to capture him. Though I think by that point it was very evident who Itachi Uchiha was. When he faced Sasuke, he still kept up the persona that he fabricated, that he's this madman hungry for power, that his only goal was to surpass Madara and steal Sasuke's eyes to awaken the true Sharingan. Itachi had to make sure that he was the outlet for all of Sasuke's hatred, and the crippling guilt he felt. He wanted someone to avenge the Uchiha clan, and only Sasuke fit that role. Itachi sacrificed everything for Sasuke and for the Leaf. And by making up the story that he slaughtered the Uchiha clan on a whim due to being power hungry, he would both keep the Uchiha name pure, and he'd act like the scapegoat for his village. Now, whether you think Itachi is evil or not is irrelevant. It is undeniable that the madman facade that Itachi had was just a ruse, and there was always a lot more to his mysterious character. Even from the first flashbacks that Sasuke had about Itachi, there were many obvious hints to Itachi's role as a double agent, like the line Fugaku dropped about him being the Uchiha's pipeline to the village nerf center. And even when he's standing atop the corpses of his parents, he's clearly wearing his Leaf Ambu uniform. So I believe that this idea that Itachi was supposed to be a double agent was always the plan. And maybe the one thing that wasn't solidified is who'd take the burden of being responsible for the massacre from the Leaf side, or in other words, Danzo. If you want to hear more about this phenomenon, then you might want to check out my Danzo retcon theory video. The truth is that I don't think that Itachi is evil so much as he was a kid faced with a near impossible choice, burdened with the safety of the shinobi world and picking a dumb decision that would end up biting him in the ass. A decision that he'd regret even more when he was revived and found out that the truth that he'd spent his entire life concealing was now out in the open, and Sasuke found out and chose vengeance against the Leaf. You see, the problem with Itachi was that given that he was a genius and everyone treated him as such, he took on the burden of maintaining equilibrium in the Leaf all by himself. He didn't try to get anyone's help. Like Itachi said, having power means being isolated, and it leads to arrogance. And after Shisui died and awakened his Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi became arrogant and furious with the clan. He didn't see any hope for them at this point. He was also arrogant in how he treated Sasuke like a child and would rather go through that deranged plan of making Sasuke hate him rather than fess up to the village's role in the clan massacre. He would even go to the extent of implanting Shisui's eyes into Naruto and conditioning it to activate in response to his Mangekyo so it could mind control Sasuke with the command of protecting the Leaf. Itachi's vision was that he would die with the shame of being the kinslayer, the rogue Akatsuki, and that his brother Sasuke would be revered as the hero that defeated him. And by dying, he'd impart a new gift onto Sasuke, the Mangekyo Sharingan, a tool that he could use to defend himself should the elders come after him. And it's ironically what Sasuke used to kill Danzo in the end. However, Itachi's plan, as selfless as it was, it may have not been all that practical. It wasn't all that wise to use hatred as the main motivator for Sasuke, and it's his fault that his brother went down such a dark path. He may have played his role a tad too well. Now, circling back to the question posed at first, is Itachi evil or not? Well, it's not a simple yes or no question. I believe that Itachi is like many of the morally gray characters of the series, like Pain, Obito, or Madara, all of whom had wanted peace at one point. The main difference is that Itachi is on the opposing side, with the will of fire and the village hidden in the leaves. The narrative does treat Itachi as heroic, but the narrative is from the Leaf's perspective. At the end of the day, Itachi had to play the part of a villain, so he became a villain. He decided that he was not worthy of redemption, and he put all his hope into Sasuke. He also lived with a lot of regret and shame after what he'd committed, which made him colder and lonelier than ever. He was working secretly against his colleagues in the Akatsuki. He also had to keep an eye out for Danzo, and when he was revived, he realized his mistakes, and he ended up saving the world and finally revealing the truth to his brother, after giving him the approval that he'd yearned for so long. So I'd say that Itachi was never truly evil, just disillusioned with the plan he created, a plan that may have not been all that great, but still, it was done with the intention of protecting his village and his brother. And there were many obvious signs that Itachi wasn't just a madman that slaughtered his clan, and that there was a lot more to his character. Maybe not every single detail was fine-tuned. I'd say that the one missing detail was Danzo, who wasn't created when Itachi was first introduced. I guess there will always be those people, the Itachi haters, that will just ignore all the foreshadowing that went behind Itachi's character and just say, nah, Itachi was retconned, no matter what evidence we provide to them. That just can't be helped. But I think that Itachi being a double agent was always meant to be the case. That doesn't mean that he was a good guy, but objectively speaking, who in the shinobi world is good? They're all trained killers after all. If you really want to see the hints to Itachi's double life, then again, I'd suggest checking out my foreshadowing video, because I'm more or less done with this topic. Be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you next time.